Newcastle Fans TV.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV. On Thursday night, Newcastle got such an easy game. It's Liverpool away. They haven't won there since the mid-90s. 1994 was the last time Newcastle last picked up a win in the league against Liverpool at Anfield. I'm here with Ross from the Redmen TV. Make sure you subscribe to the Redmen, the best content for Liverpool fans, of course, as well. And they'll have reaction to Liverpool versus Newcastle on Thursday. But Ross, big welcome to the preview.
Thanks for having me again. Looking forward to this one. I'm probably sure that you're not, but you know, it's a bit of a pain actually. When we were talking to you a couple of months ago, it's like Thursday night, 8 o'clock at Anfield. It's like your fans have just been stitched up there again, haven't they?
Yes, in a word, yes. But we've got Liverpool and Manchester City this week, so yeah, it's going to be a fantastic week leading up to Christmas for all Newcastle fans. Going to Liverpool on Thursday. But Ross, let's talk all things Liverpool first things first. 6 wins out of 6, but in the Premier League, just a point off the top, a point off Manchester City. You can't really complain too much with the start of the season you've had.
No, absolutely not. You know, in comparison to the back end of last season, everything else that went wrong from January onwards, you know, I don't want to sound like in a great position moaning there, but like by our standards, it was horrific, losing body after body, week in, week out, losing game after game, losing at home to Brighton and Fulham and barely taking points off us and all this stuff. It's not what you want when you're going for a title race. Whereas now, you know, touchable things seem to be going for us, and more importantly, we're having results where we can tonk teams. You know, we swept away Southampton, Arsenal, Everton in the past couple of weeks, but we're also grinding out results. You know, Wolves and Aston Villa at the weekend are teams that want to give us a game, which was the blueprint of how to either beat us or get something out of us last season. We're starting to win those games, which from what we saw when we won the title, they're also title winning games. So yeah, good so far. Can't complain. 6 out of 6 in the Champions League. Like you said, it's after a second time round. I would have preferred the first draw at Salzburg, but I'll take Inter Milan.
That just sums up Liverpool at the minute. I'll take Inter Milan away first leg. That just sums up where Liverpool are at the minute. But how impressed have you been since the return of fans from a Liverpool fan? Because let's not get away from it. Having fans back in stadiums for teams like Liverpool makes a massive difference, and especially at home, like you mentioned, I think it was 6 home defeats in a row where you hadn't lost at home for years under Jurgen Klopp. Yeah. So it does make a massive difference, that Anfield atmosphere, especially on evening games like it will be this week.
Yeah, 100%. Like Newcastle, Liverpool ones, like one of the harks back to the classic games where, you know, the 4-3s and stuff like that. But like I think we've always said when we've done previews before, there's mutual respect between Newcastle and Liverpool for various reasons and stuff we were talking about before we started recording the show. But yeah, no, I think it just went hand in hand. It's like the fans got taken away when we won the title, so it was kind of a bit like not empty, but it just obviously just didn't feel the same. And then they obviously went out on the lash and we got topped by Man City, and then it was just like again we started losing bodies. So then we started getting bodies back and fans coming back. So I think both things have gone hand in hand. And then you start building up that kind of that feeling of being resolute and being invincible again. You know, it's very hard. It's very hard to maintain it, keep it. Once you lose it, it's kind of hard to get it back as well. So I think it was like 2 years, like you said there, of like being undefeated. You know, walking out and shoulders high to your ground with your fans there, going, "Oh, yeah, this is going to be impossible." Then to lose 6, like you said, on the bounce there, it's just like you've got to get that feeling back, and it's hard. It's really hard to go and do that, but you can only do that, or Liverpool can only do that when you've got the likes of when you've got centre backs that play centre back. You know, it's very helpful within your side. So we're starting to do that, and we get into a position where every game is must win. You know, since the kick off at the start of the season, like our fans have lost the rest because we lost to West Ham. You know, the respect is there because of what Moyes has done and what West Ham are doing. But also you see other teams like Chelsea, Man City, as soon as they drop points, it's like, we've got to win, forgetting that all of those other teams can drop points. So it's Anfield's huge. And like you said, those night games, and particularly because the run that we're on, like the team needs us as much as we need them.
Yeah, I actually found out an incredible stat, which I sort of didn't actually believe at first, but when I thought about it does make sense. Virgil van Dijk's never lost a Premier League match at Anfield.
No, I don't think Sadio Mane has either.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not, isn't it? Yeah. In 2.5-3 years that he's been there, it's just maybe even a bit longer than that. Yeah. Absolutely not. So, yeah, good little record to have. Yeah, but records are made to be broken, mate.
Exactly.
These things. And again, our approach to this game won't be, Newcastle at bottom of the table, guaranteed 3 points, because as I mentioned before, I think Crystal Palace took points off. I can't remember which way around it was, either Chelsea or Man City and Crystal Palace against that. Similar, again, Brighton to us at home. We've drawn games, Brentford, we've drawn with them, so you can't go into any Premier League games despite 4 whatever. And I don't know how you're feeling going into this, but Liverpool won't take it for granted. And particularly the past 2 games that we've had, we've struggled to get past Wolves and past Aston Villa because they defended really well. And maybe Newcastle might be slightly different. You can tell me, but I think it's going to be a tough game.
We'll mention Newcastle a little bit later in their defensive, let's call it woes, and that's been nice and polite.
Just get to January, mate, and you can have Phillips. You can have that.
Exactly.
Just head everything, mate. You'll be fine.
I was going to mention that because there is a couple of Liverpool players that I think, let's be honest, aren't getting game time. Nat Phillips is one. I was going to mention Divock Origi until he scored 2 and 3. I think obviously he scored against AC Milan in the Champions League, but Wolves, that was a massive goal for Liverpool. Do you still think that if there was the right deal was there on the table and Newcastle were interested, because obviously money's no object now for Newcastle, that Divock Origi, Nat Phillips are potentials for Newcastle?
Maybe not in January. But certainly in the summer. Divock Origi is a really difficult one because I think there was a deal in place with Wolves last summer for him to go, and whether the price was right or not, I think Liverpool were kind of adamant of saying, like, we don't need to sell anyone. Like, we haven't spent any money, so we're not desperate for cash. There was a problem with the quota of non-homegrown players that we had in the team before we could buy anybody else. But obviously Shaqiri went, and we still didn't buy anybody. Origi seems pretty adamant that he doesn't want to go. He's fairly happy, which is, different people are satisfied with different things. If he's happy being 4th, 5th choice, he likes the city, he likes the environment that he's in. He's training with world-class players every single day. If he's happy with that, then fine. I think the other stumbling block with him, which I don't think would be a problem for Newcastle, is Liverpool gave him a fairly big contract, lengthy contract, after the Champions League final, which is kind of feels like on the back of it was done on emotion and shouldn't have been done. But I think there is 2 sides to Origi. He's really frustrating, where he can be, and doesn't seem like he's interested half the time, which, to be fair, when you think about it, when he plays 1 in 6, he plays a game, what's the point? As much as these people get paid, I think it's the same for any walk in life of whatever job you're in. It's hard to motivate yourself, and you still have to have job satisfaction. And then we started AC Milan at home. I was like, everyone lost the red to go, like, what's he doing there? And he scores a goal. So I mean, so there is a player in there, but I think he's very similar to Danny Ings. If he gets a good run of games, then he starts with 15 teams in the league, for a good run of games. So whether he looks at Newcastle side and goes, well, and we're getting ahead of Callum Wilson, I know he's injured quite a lot. I know all the other forwards that you've got, he's going to get a game. Joe Linton, obviously, starting to find a little bit of form recently as well. Does he fancy it? It's up to him, and depends what the project is at Newcastle. I certainly think he's a good player. I think he'd fit really well for you. He won't go in January because we've got Mane and Salah going to AFCON. So we need him, although we've got Jota and Bobby Firmino, but we need as many options as we've got. And Nat Phillips, I think, is another good buy. Will be another good buy. He's our 5th choice centre half at the minute, and he was our 1st last season. And one of the main reasons that we got Champions League football is because he stepped up. Now, if you're looking for someone to throw the head at anything and put the body on the line and properly defend, I think he's a really good player, and I think it'll go hand in hand because he said money's no object, but that can work to Liverpool's advantage of going, well, who else is going to sell you one of their best centre-halves in January if you're desperate for someone to come in? Liverpool are looking so far in the sense of, we've got Joe Gomez, we've got Van Dijk, we've got Joe Matip, we've got Canate, do you know what I mean? And we've got other youth players coming through. Maybe Liverpool might be a bit cautious and go, well, Joe Gomez hasn't really played so far this season because he's just kept him on the back burner. Joe Matip's got his injury problems, and if Van Dijk gets a knock, then, there might be a case where we need Nat Phillips, and I don't want to play Fabinho and Jordan Ends in the centre half for the last 3 months of the season when we're chasing the title. So honestly, both those players will improve your team, but I'm not sure a deal can be done in January for it.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see who Newcastle actually go for in January and see where they are on the table. Just one last thing on Liverpool. Obviously, they're playing 2 games in 4 days like Newcastle as well. Obviously, they've got Spurs on Sunday, straight after we play Manchester City. Do you expect many changes from Jurgen Klopp for this game? Obviously, with Spurs in the back of his mind.
No, I don't think so. We rotated quite a few. I think it was 8 changes that we made for AC Milan, and obviously that was kind of one of the dead rubbers. Obviously, we played some of the big boys, but when we went into, I think it was the Porto game, before AC Milan, I was like, just play the children, mate. Just like don't risk anyone getting injured. But I think some of our players thrive off playing 2-3 times a week. And as much as we can, we're quite lucky in the sense that there might be 1 or 2 changes. Jota's coming back. He played a little bit on Saturday against Aston Villa. Roberto Firmino's been back in training since the end of last week. So obviously it might be too soon for him, but he might get some game time. So it'll only be rotation in the sense that we've got more options more than anything. Spurs, I don't think he'll do it. I think he'll go all out for Spurs and upcoming Premier League games. I think you might see big changes in the Carabao Cup of Leicester that we got. But like I said, it's every game is must win for Liverpool. We can't afford to kind of go, it's only Newcastle. I'll play, Taki Minamino or whatever. It's not a slight on him. Like we need to go big to win these games, get ourselves in front, and then maybe make changes.
Yeah, for sure. Right, let's talk about Newcastle from an opposition perspective. 19th in the league, Ross, Newcastle, but I think a lot of Newcastle fans are very, very happy at the minute because there's no more Mike Ashley, there's no more Steve Bruce. It's a new revolution.
The Sports Direct signs have gone. I told you.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah.
That was brilliant. Even the ground getting a clean was trending on Twitter in the Northeast for a long time. So yeah. So little things like that have made a massive difference. Just before we talk about the actual team itself, what's your perspective on the actual takeover? Because there was a lot of, let's be honest, anger from a lot of the bigger clubs to this takeover, and there still is now to this day. As a Liverpool fan, looking at what's happening at Newcastle, do you think maybe in 3 to 5 years, you might be getting a knock on the door from the Northeast?
It's really difficult, isn't it, to not be hypocritical because no billionaire is clean. I know billionaire has got morals or values or whatever else, and I know there's obviously controversial stuff which people can go in depth on. I don't know a lot about, so I'm not going to pretend that I do and kind of go, well, this has happened, and therefore like these owners shouldn't be there. I think a lot of it is just people being scared of someone else knocking on the door, like you said, of like someone else being involved at the top end of the table, and they change rules which should have been implemented many years ago before Chelsea got taken over. Probably Manchester City have gone, we can just go and spend what you want and do what you want. Why should the door be closed for Newcastle? And I get there's arguments from likes of Everton who have got I think Liverpool aren't even in the top 5 of richest owners. There's other clubs. Aston Villa have got wealthy owners. Everton have got wealthy owners that can't spend the money, and they're probably just kind of a bit jealous of what they can do. But Newcastle have got the fan base, have got the stadium, have got the global recognition of who they are. They can probably exploit some things that other teams can't do in terms of reach and the way that they work finances. Obviously, they can't do what Man City have done and just pump money in through sponsors that happen to be related to whatever else. And it was only yourself as a Man City that surprisingly voted against that when that came around. So I think it's just, I think you're right. It's just clubs being bitter, and I don't think like Liverpool's owners have don't call themselves in glory with all the Super League stuff, and they're just as much hypocrites as anybody else, and maybe just using some things that have been propelled in the media to say, oh, listen, this can't happen. But it's not Newcastle I have the problem with. It's the Premier League and the FA from years and years ago to try and stop this from happening, for the same reason that they should put protection in from owners further down the leagues to stop idiots buying clubs and just either sports washing or just pissing money away. So clubs like Bury and that don't exist anymore, and Wigan, it nearly happened to them as well. There needs to be a lot more thorough protection, but I'm sure the FA and the Premier League also get a little bit of money, so that's what it evolves around. And that keeps them quiet. But I quite like Newcastle. I haven't got an issue with them at all. I wish them every success, just not on Thursday.
Just not on Thursday. Yes, definitely. On the pitch for Newcastle, look, it hasn't been great. Only 1 win this season against Burnley last Saturday. 3 points off safety, but Burnley do take on Watford this midweek, so that's one of those sides. Maybe both of them getting points. Who knows? But in terms of the actual team, Ross, does anybody frighten you, or do you feel like Liverpool are just so strong that they can deal with pretty much anything that Newcastle can throw at them?
Saint-Maximin. I think he's absolutely brilliant. He frightens me just because of his his pace, power, skill, his reading of the game. He's not frightened to run at people. I think you'll probably see Van Dijk and Matip, who more likely be, or even the fullbacks at least, are prone to leaving space, as something that he can probably thrive on and enjoy. It's like I'm a massive Bobby Firmino fan because he looks like someone who just enjoys the football, and I very much feel that's what Saint-Maximin does. You know, he just loves playing football. I'd see him as a threat. I know he's starting to get Joel Linton, as I mentioned before. He's starting to kind of find his feet, and I think I said this last time we were on. You know, you're going to find probably as you get towards January. You know, you talk about transfers. Those players that are currently playing, you're going to be thinking, well, if I don't pull my finger out, I'm not going to be here in a month's time, 2 months time. I'm not going to be part of this Eddie Howe project. So, you know, maybe it's more hope from your perspective, or even mine. I've seen some of these players improve, but Saint-Maximin is the one that I'd have to pick out. That probably like Callum Wilson, I'm a massive fan of his as well. But again, he just seems to be in the right place at the right time. He's obviously a natural finisher, but he's also injured quite a lot. But he fancies chances against Virgil van Dijk and Matip. I don't know.
Obviously, when you talk about your defenders of Van Dijk and Matip and Konate and Gomez, and you look at Newcastle's defence, like I don't know if you watched any of the game against Leicester on Sunday, but our defenders are 6s and 7s at the back, and that's being polite.
I saw Kieran Clark get sent off the other week, and that was just stupid. In fact, I saw Kieran Clark get sent off, and I saw John Joe Shelby get sent off the other week as well. And that was his first game at St James after the takeover, wasn't it? It was like just daft.
It's just very daft. But when you look at those defenders, they don't breed you with any confidence from a Newcastle fan point of view. So I'm sure Mo Salah will be rubbing his hands together on Thursday night. He'll be looking at defence and going, "Well, I'm looking forward to this."
Yeah, we've adapted our play slightly. It was a massive take from pre-season of, again, obviously having the players, but we seem to commit more midfielders into attacks now as well. We seem to kind of either offer a decoy for Mo Salah or, you know, some space for him. Shut up. I know the chicken on top of the table. You know, so it provides us with space. So we've got some alternatives in what we do in attacks, and Henderson's getting further forward because we've got the basis of Fabinho in midfield as well. And then, you know, you get past Fabinho, you've got to get past Van Dijk and Matip, get past them, you've got to get past Alisson. So Mo Salah's absolutely on form at the minute. He's absolutely unreal. So hopefully get his contract sorted soon, but he's just like a man. He just doesn't need any motivation. Sadio Mane, although he's not getting the goals and as much recognition as Mo Salah, will constantly work for you and just drag defenders into the ground. And you look at the bench and you're thinking, we'll play those and Bobby might start, and then Jota comes off the bench. You know, don't be to frighten you, but Liverpool got options again, and we're getting goals from midfield. You know, Henderson scoring, Fabinho's getting goals, Thiago's even getting on the score sheet in recent weeks. So, you know, if the forwards aren't scoring, there's always someone else's danger all over the pitch for us.
Can't wait for Thursday. Can't wait to make that trip down to Liverpool now.
Did I mention the fullbacks as well? Goalkeeper gets goals now as well.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's going to be lovely to watch. Ross, quick prediction from you. I'm sure you're going to go for a home win. How many do you think by?
I'll go for a 2-0. I think I'll go for it. I don't think it's going to be a demolition. But a back Liverpool with the quality of players that we've got, and obviously, as I mentioned, the bodies that we've got there to do it. The blueprint so far is the teams that have either drawn or beaten us, or Aston Villa did a very good job the other day as well of just setting up defensively and then trying to hit us on the counter attack. I mentioned Saint-Maximin before. You've got the players to hit us on the counter attack if you can defend properly. But as you said, the quality of the defenders don't play with much joy. So I'm going to take what you said and go for 2-0.
I think you're being very, very kind. Very, very kind going
well,
to...
Well, it's not going to be arrogant and go 5-0. It's going to be easy because... And honestly, stranger things have happened. You know, there's every chance that you could be... We need us to have an off day. Okay, it might be a load of players to have an off day, but, you know, if Liverpool go into the mindset of it's a piece of piss, it's Newcastle, it's blah, 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 which I don't think they will, but, you know, Norwich are beating Manchester City at home, Wolves are beating Manchester City at home, Chelsea dropping points left, right and centre. You just never know.
Exactly, you just never know.
No, but it might be a free hit for Newcastle. You know, what's your options? Like I said, Aston Villa just sat back and said, okay, we're still in the game with 30 minutes to go. And besides the penalty, they would have drawn that game. Did Newcastle try and go toe-to-toe for Liverpool and get absolutely wiped off the floor? Or did they go, actually, we'll just defend for 90 minutes and counter when we can and see what we can go and get, you know, what you're expecting from this game. So, you know, and every point matters. So a draw at Liverpool isn't bad.
Oh, isn't bad. I'll take it right now. I'll take that point right now. If you're offering me it, I'll take it. I'm not
offering you right now. I'm just saying it's
Hey, well, thank you very much for your time, Ross. It's been absolutely brilliant having you on, talking all things Liverpool.
What's your score prediction before I go? What are you saying?
I'll say 2-0 as well, and I'm being polite as well. But no,
Okay.
in all seriousness, if Newcastle can, just like you say, Ross, stay in the game with 20 minutes to go and say it's only 1-0 or 0-0, who knows? Maybe bring on an extra forward. And if you get beat 2-0, you get beat 2-0 by going for it a little bit in the last 20 minutes. And I don't mind that. I just want to see an improved defensive performance more than anything, considering our next few games.
What would Steve Bruce do? What would Steve Bruce do?
What, go and watch the cricket? That's what he would do. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Go and subscribe to the Redmen. Ross and the team do a fantastic job. I think they're the longest serving fan channel, so please give them a look if you want to see all the Liverpool content. They'll have a content, as I've mentioned, for Liverpool versus Newcastle from Anfield as well. And Thursday night should be very, very interesting, to say the least. Newcastle Fans TV as well will have all the content, myself and Lee. And I think Harry's also at the game as well, so we'll get some content for you after the final whistle. But for myself and Ross, we'll see you all very soon.